Real quick, guys, before we dive into today's episode, I am a licensed counselor associate, but I'm not your personal counselor. The information shared on this podcast is for educational and inspirational purposes only and is not intended to replace or substitute professional counseling. So if you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out for help. The 988 hotline is available for a suicide and crisis lifeline. You don't have to walk this life alone. Let's jump into today's episode.
Hi, guys. It's been a minute since I've recorded a podcast. I've been very busy with work and just trying to get my feet underneath me, honestly, as a therapist. And with that said, I want to come on here today and just kind of brain dump a bunch of thoughts I've been having. So, after sitting with clients for over 1,000 hours and just gaining so much wisdom from sitting with people. I find it such a joy to sit with people day in and day out and hear their struggles, hear how people think. There's just so much to gain in like sitting with people and hearing their stories and hearing their struggles and hearing the commonalities upon people. Like we are all more alike than you think. So I just wanted to come on today and provide some insights of the things that I'm hearing in session and the things that I want to push back against. So as a therapist, I'm going to triple dog dare you to do the following things. The first one is to be unaesthetic. We are living in a culture that is making us feel like everything we do has to be this curated, aesthetic, picture perfect life. And if we're just being honest, that is almost impossible to uphold all the time. And what I'm finding is we are looking at these standards on social media and thinking that's what we have to do, or might as well not even get started. I think life really happens in the unaesthetic moments. When you are busy living your life, you are less concerned of how it looks. And I think if you want to actually get things done, whether it be healthy routines or habits or have a good relationship with yourself, with your body, those things aren't pretty most of the time. And I think if we are just so focused on the image of how all of these things look or how they're going to look on social media, then we're missing the point of living in it. Something that's coming to my mind is a mom with kids. Like their life is chaotic, it's messy, but there's so much joy in the everyday. And sitting with moms, they eventually say that their kids, they move out and they get their clean house back. But they can't get those moments back of the kids being crazy and funny and fun. And the same thing goes with even if we don't have kids, I think we can see it in the everyday moments of when you are trying to build out healthy routines. You don't need a perfect workout set to get started in exercising. Wear what you have and upgrade along the way. I just posted something about de-influencing triathlon edition. All my triathlon gear is secondhand stuff, Facebook Market stuff. My bicycle is from Facebook Marketplace. I have a helmet from a secondhand store. So in a world that is showing that you need the nicest stuff to get started, you need the cute workout outfit, you need to meal prep and everything has to look great. Like, honestly, no. I think real life happens with eating a can of tuna or a protein shake most of the time because life is busy. And if you actually want to fit these things in a realistic way or in a way that fits your budget, then it might not look aesthetic. But guess what? If you wait until everything looks perfect, then you're missing out on so many opportunities to live in today and in the now. So do it messy, do it ugly. And I truly think that the unaesthetic world is going to have a comeback because everything is going to look polished, specifically with AI. I could come on this podcast right now and have a perfectly polished script. I can edit out every mistake that I say, but is that real? Is that authentic? You can go get a cookie cutter, anything nowadays. But I think people are really craving that authenticity. So the second thing that I'm going to dare you to do is to be whimsical. So something I'm very passionate about is adult play. So I think playing as an adult and playing like a child, using your imagination, being creative is so important for our joy and for safety in our nervous system and to kind of regulate ourselves. So sometimes we operate on this level of, which is important, that we need to be responsible adults, but there needs to be a time where we break free from that and we have a moment to laugh with our friends, to do the things that help you connect with your inner child. I think it just comes down to not taking yourself so serious. Because there's a song, it's a country song. It's like, all I have to do is live and die. And I know that sounds very morbid, but when you think about it, it's true. And yes, work and responsibilities help us to live, but you want your life to be so much more than that. You want to actually live your life. So like being funny, being weird, being okay with being the odd duck, right? Because it just goes to show that you are fully embracing your life and your joy. Which brings me to another point, which I dare you to be weird. Again, this kind of goes back to being aesthetic, but I think we're also afraid of being judged, that we don't want to be the weird one. But when you think about it, we naturally gravitate towards the quote unquote weird ones. When you see them on social media, and there's a term out there right now, like, oh, a little bit of my quote unquote tism is showing. Those people, we find they seem just so authentic, like they're being 100% themselves and they're not afraid to be themselves. And I am a big advocate of authenticity breeds authenticity. So when you give yourself a permission slip to be weird, to be whimsical, to be childlike, I think it allows other people to do the same, and it helps them to connect back with their joy, and it also takes the judgment off of yourself. So a lot of times when we feel judged, it's what we're putting on ourselves, because we almost want to judge ourselves before society can judge us. But I truly believe that people can only know you as far as you know you. So if there's parts of yourself that you're not willing to accept, even the weird parts, how are other people going to connect on that level with you? Again, people can only meet you as far as you've met yourself. And again, this kind of goes back to the unaesthetic piece, where we have acted like our lives are this curated, picture perfect, we don't make mistakes, we can edit anything out life. And that's not true. You know who you are behind closed doors. I know who I am behind closed doors. I am nothing like an Instagram feed. I am messy and I am wildly human, just like you. And I think once we tap into that side of ourselves and we embrace what makes us human, what makes us awkward, what makes us weird, when you make those mistakes, you're just able to embrace so much more of all these points that I'm making, all connect with each other. I've already kind of given away everything that I'm talking about. But another thing that I wanted to dare you to do today is to be childlike. So me and my friend were talking about this, and talking about when we came back to our faith, how we got in touch with our childlike nature again. And I think it's a beautiful concept, because when you become a child, you have always been a child of God. But when you return back to the Father, you allow him to take the fatherly role. And it almost takes this pressure off of you that all you have to do is be God's child, and he will take care of the rest. So it's almost like handing him the heavy bag, and you are able to just run off and play, and understanding and trusting that God will take care of the rest. He's your provider. He is your protector. And that's not to say there's a responsibility that we have as humans. And of course, I'm not saying that, but I do think when you have your faith and you are a child of God, you are able to connect back with that part of yourself. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And when I say childlike, it's not a level of immaturity. It's really just this childlike wonder, where they are curious, they are exploratory. They almost have this naiveness about them that is a beautiful thing and that should be protected. And this concept comes back to somewhere along the lines of growing up. We thought that we need to be serious all the time, as if that buys us into adulthood. But you can be equally responsible and mature, along with having this childlike wonder and whimsy in your life. Because it allows you to experience all the emotions, the whole spectrum of emotions. You're not just limiting yourself or leaving those for like a select, like those are only for children. Like, you need to take some of that with you. Take in that play, figure out what play looks like for you. It can be being creative in, digital media, like creating videos, creating graphics, but it also could be playing. I think a beautiful thing about having children, if you are blessed to do so, is my mom would always say to me, it helps you to see the world for the first time again. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But there's also just this level of getting down on the floor and playing with your kids and tapping into your imagination with them. And if you don't want to have kids or that's not in your cards right now, how do you cultivate that on your own? What does play look like? Is it dance? Is it hanging out with your friends? Like with the Wellness Hub community, we always say we're just a bunch of big kids because our age range really goes from 20 to 40. But when we're all together, you would think we're just like a bunch of big kids, like playing games or laughing and being a bunch of dorks together. And I think there's just such a beauty in that. And I would never want that to get lost on anyone. So again, as a therapist, I triple dog dare you to tap into your childlike nature and become more whimsical in a way that feels authentic to you and maybe in a way that you used to when you were younger. And my last point that I just want to talk about today is I dare you to be human. Something I say in session when someone is coming in with maybe a lot of shame, I'll look at them and say, okay, it sounds like you're human. Like I had mentioned earlier, you know who you are behind closed doors. I know who I am behind closed doors. Yes, we could come into the world. And again, I don't know if it just stems back to social media of this perfectly curated life or that we should be above all these human experiences. I think there's so much information out there about healing and understanding psychology, but that doesn't diminish that you're still going to do things in your life that just show how human you are. And it kind of goes back to the quote of let God be God. We can't, once we try to take things into our own hands or try to be above the human experience, are we trying to play God? And I think it's reassuring for us to kind of come back into this comfort of, yes, at the end of the day, we are mere humans and we are going to be messy and we're going to be sinners. And that is not a permission slip to go out and to do bad things, but it is a permission slip to take off the cloak of shame. That was never ours to carry. And I always just sit there with people and just remind them of how human they are and what they are going through will reveal that to you. I feel like I could talk more about that topic, but I'm going to leave it there for today. I guess the whole idea and the concept of this topic today is to stop living your life as if it's a performance and to start actually living your life. Be in your life. Your life isn't a performance for everybody else, for them to applaud you, congratulate you. It's when you sit in your own life. Do you like it? Do you like who you are? Have you accepted who you are? Some of these things are the hardest things that we perform or curate a life that we think we should have or that people would want us to have. But is it a life that we want to have? Or is there something that we're avoiding? Is there a truth that we haven't wanted to tell ourselves? Or is there feelings that we are avoiding? And by doing these things, we think we can avoid them, but we're just creating more negative feelings at the end of the day by avoiding our true, most authentic and pure selves. And again, I will leave you with just the genuine reminder that by you being your authentic self might allow somebody else to be the same way. Take the courage for yourself so that way you can take a lot of judgment off of yourself and your life won't feel as heavy to carry around. There'll be more grace in your life and grace for others, and have the courage to be fully yourself, so allowing somebody else to do the same thing. You might be the light that shows somebody that it's okay. It's okay to be human and to be messy and to not have it all together, because at the end of the day, we all know none of us do. So we need to stop acting like we do. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I'll talk to you guys again next time.